Passiamo alla Toscana.
Let's move on to Tuscany.
Chiamo Giampiero Bertolini.
Giampiero Bertolini, who is the CEO of Biondi Santi.
Bellissimo video anche questo, completamente
This was just a great video, completely different in terms of language and codes. But anyway, I think that the common ground of both companies is this focus on the brand, right? So the history that we can find behind these brands, the Biondi Santi doesn't need to be introduced. This is an historical Italian brand, not just with an international reputation. You don't come from the wine world, and your company is no longer an Italian company. It was bought by a French investor, right? Would you like to share a little bit your history, your story maybe, but also the investment coming from France? Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for having me here, for sharing this great adventure, and I really feel humbled and privileged. I come from another world. I come from the world of big international corporations, and it was by chance that 20 years ago I entered the worldwide, and I don't want to get out of this world, since this is just extraordinary. I had another experience in another company 3 years ago. Since there was a French family, it's not just a group, a French group, it's a company. They acquired only Biondi Santi, and they wanted to appoint me as CEO of this company. This was this first investment of the Scur family outside of France. This is the name of our family, of our investor, and this was quite an important investment also for our company, Biondi Santi, considering what the company was in terms of turnover, structure, etc. We don't talk about turnover. This is something I had already shared with you. But this was kind of a long-term vision of this family that were operating in the sector of high-end products like champagne, etc., and all these premium wines. Together with this Italian company, they could complete their portfolio, their product range, and they want to stay there. This is our vision as a group. I joined the company in 2018. At the end of 2018, after quite difficult grape harvest in Montalcino, the company was going through a moment that was quite tough, was quite difficult for the relationship with the company, with the family that were still present. There was no structure of the company, so we had to lay the foundations, and the family did very well at a specific extent. I mean, in a specific extent for the premiumness on the market, but also in terms of product range and communication. So this was quite good. They performed very well. Yeah, it was already a brand, right? Quite well known. Yes, of course, it was already a brand, but with a lot of hardships and difficulties. I don't want to talk about this kind of decline, but it was not an easy phase. There was no distribution all over the world. There was no communication. Well, we needed to refresh a little bit the company. So we started doing this kind of relooking of the company, kind of a making. We tried to make up the company, so to say. And there were several steps. First of all, we wanted to set up a suitable structure for the new direction we wanted to take. And the structure did not change a lot, but the way of working changed. We had to change the systems. We also had to try to understand how to work in a small dimension, allocation, BI systems, everything or something that did not exist before. And this also refers to the data of the Italian companies. Then the second step was also capital was vital, so we wanted to work very hard on the production and manufacturing process in order to prepare the future of the company. We wanted to understand what do we have, what kind of soils do we have, how can we invest in wineries and wine cellars, and this was really time consuming for all of us. It took very long. Then we started thinking outside the box, out of the box, and we also understood that there are quite important key points in the world of wine. We also joined a lot of social networks, and we started setting up the distribution network. We worked on all that, and today I can say I can be also quite proud of that after 3 years we considered a 10-year business plan. After 3 years there was a huge acceleration, and we achieved a lot of goals. We exceeded our expectations, something we did not expect. This was our merit, but this was also thanks to the brand that also made a difference. I mean, I am humbled and privileged. I'm the CEO of such an important brand. Well, all my forecasts were wrong. We went beyond our expectations and the predictions. No one could foresee that the brand would recover so quickly, so fast. In terms of quality, what did you do in order to improve the quality, but also in terms of prices? Since if we consider the average Italian price, yes, of course, in terms of quality, we are still selling the products from the family. In Montalcino, we have very high, very long times. We have already produced 3 different wines that are produced by us, by ourselves. We worked on 2 things. On the one hand, the analysis of soils, which is very important in Montalcino for the hills, and also the analysis of clones, since Bondi, this has always been asset for Biondisanti. Franco Biondisanti in 1966 and 67 selected the first clone that was a symbol of the family, S11, this was the name. We started another analysis. We started, analyzing all the vineyards, etc., from dating back to the last century. And we are working on all the soils and on all the vineyards as well. We are trying to understand how to prepare the company for the future. And our mission has always been to keep the DNA of Biondisanti in order to make our consumers passionate about our style, but we also want to improve the quality. So a lot of resources being invested in the production. Yeah, you were also talking last time as we talked to each other about prices, right? This is quite fun. Yes, it's a lot of fun actually, since we carried out work that was not thinkable 3 years ago. We decided to reposition the company from the point of view of the price. The average price is 70% more than what we found in the company over 3 years. And this is not our merit. Once again, this is a lack of merit from the previous management that had not positioned the brand as it should have done. we doubled the price from one day to another of our basic wine, Rosso di Montalcino. And the commercial director said, Giampiero, I think that sales will be affected. Today, we are selling much more than before, not because we are very good, but because the brand is very well positioned. And we are positioning the brand where the market wants to see it. So we were the first ones who did not give enough attention, pay enough attention to this company. Yesterday, I was talking about that. Over in 2 months and a half, we have allocated everything. Well, on the 1st of March, in May, we have no more wine. So there was kind of acceleration. And for this production, right, since you allocate so quickly, what kind of plans do we have? We do have some plans. When I arrived, I also acquired 6 additional hectares of vineyards, which is quite a lot in Montalcino area. And in the first phase, we also wanted to plant new vineyards that were no more quality. There will be an increase in terms of production of performance, but not before 8-6 years from now, 8-9 years from now. So there is still a long way to go. But in the long run, we think we will be able to grow. But there is something fundamental. We wanted to find the right balance with the market. One of the things that we wanted to do is this kind of supervision, these follow-up. We pay a lot of attention to the market. If there is a bottle that I can't sell, is it just in the wine cellar? We have to find the right balance once again. I see that the market creates products, and for such a wine, is there any parallel plan? Yes. What kind of actions did you set up? Well, when we arrived, we also had to buy a lot of wine from the market. Since the prices were wrong, the situation was wrong in a way. And today we have new harvests, and all of them are well balanced on all the market. We have a unique price for the world, and this is something we don't have. On the previous grape harvests, we have completely different prices that are not fair if we consider our positioning. So we had to face and cope with this problem. Yeah, of course. Okay, you are part of another sector, but you are already part of this sector, right? What is your vision of Italian wine? And then we can also go outside Montalcino, since this is kind of an excellent area, but this is a very small one. It is not overall representation of the Italian wine system. What are the strengths and weaknesses of Italian wine? What should be done in order to take a step forward? Well, my vision is a very positive wine as far as Italian wine is concerned. If we take a look at the growth rate of Italian wine worldwide in the main countries, we are acquiring more market shares, but we are also more reliable and credible in terms of the product range. And this applies to the entire supply chain of the Italian wine. If we consider Place de Bordeaux, for example, which is a platform that distributes high-end wines with a lot of demand from the market, compared to the last year's, Place de Bordeaux has more than 100 Italian wines. This is to say, the Italian wine is performing very well, and this is something we can perceive. Quality is reaching the French standards, and they ask for Italian wines to be distributed through and via this platform, Place de Bordeaux. So we can create an added value, what we have to do, and we also have to be able not to produce too many bottles if they are not asked for by the market. This is a typical problem of us as Italian producers. We think a lot about volumes instead of the value of the wine. But if we find the right balance on the market, then we will find an important value pathway. Well, last question. You you acquired Lena and you got out of your world. Now, Cerro Lena is a company that is well, a high-end company. Ceparello is one of the Tafka most important Tafka wines. So this is a consistent investment if we consider that the positioning of the company, Champagne, Biondi Santi, and so on. We envisage to do what we did with Biondi Santi. We wanted to improve our winemaking process, something we have to learn from the owner. Yeah, the owner will still be there for a long time. We are working hand in hand with him, and we should also add to Hidrolena what they didn't have before. So finding a value on the market through a more intense communication, a more suitable distribution. These are our levers. And in terms of distribution, this is not perfect. There is some room for improvement. We have to have more value on the higher items, on the items that are on the balance sheet. So market request and keeping the DNA of this company, which is unique in the Chianti area. The family acquiring Biondi Santi was very glad about the first investment, right? This is what I think. I also think, as you told before, that it is important to have international investors in Italy, and this is a proof of what you said. So we have a lot of excellent products. When they are recognized and acknowledged, then they attire capitals. They attract, capitals from abroad. So when we find a company that has the characteristics we want for our portfolio, then we are interested in evaluating them. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much.